They came from all over the world. Their ancestors originally from Greece, Asia Minor, and the Black Sea. But they were all Greek, and they were all Orthodox. And they were looking to the New World for a place to call home. Over 100 years ago, they started to come. First the men, who worked their hearts out in order to bring the women. They opened corner grocery stores, ran cafes, and worked at trades where they could speak Greek and still manage a profitable business. They had dreams, American dreams, that through education and perseverance, fueled by their faith, the next generation would rise up to higher levels of society. And they did. But they were always Greek. And still to this day, they pass down their language, their cooking, their dancing, their singing, and their love of orthodoxy. Their ancient way of worshiping God remains the eternal glue for this and every Greek Orthodox community around the world. This is the story of the Greeks who came to Charleston, South Carolina, who this year celebrate 100 years since the founding of their church. They will tell you how they got here. They will tell you what they believe. They will tell you why we are Trinity.
And one of the earliest families here was the Shadarassi family, Skedaresi, and they were from Cephalonia. And Aspiro Skedaresi, or Shadarassi, was an early pioneer Greek in Charleston. In fact, I think he and his brother founded the Greek community in Augusta, Georgia also.
My father was an immigrant from the island of Samos.
They came down to Charleston and they liked it, and he liked it because it was so much like his island from Niceros.
Cephalonia, Greece, in the Ionian Sea.
My mother's family is from Rhodes, but she herself was from Tarpon Springs, Florida.
Cephalonia, Ionian Sea, and Turkey.
They were from the island of Limnos, which is in the North Aegean Sea.
Epiros, northwestern Greece.
My father is from Kalimnos, Viviconis, Greece.
And my mother was from the Dodecanese Islands, and my father was from Aegina, which is right across from the port of Athens.
My father's family is from Asia Minor, Mikriasia.
My father is from Mytilene.
My grandfather on my mother's side came from Smyrna, a Greek Turk, so to speak.
My grandfather came after World War I and established himself and went back, and then came back after the Second War broke out. And his wife and my mom and them were stuck over there during the war, and then they came over after the war and brought my dad, and we've been over here since.
My parents were from Calabritas.
My father came to America from the Megalochorion and Carpanisi.
From Niceros. Now that's one of the Decanus, and it's the next island up from Rhodes.
The church didn't spring from nothing in 1910. There were people here before that. They laid the groundwork. And they could have just gone their own way and dissipated, or maybe they would have melded into the other ethnic groups. But no, they wanted their own. They wanted their own. They met initially down on King Street, in mid-King Street. There used to be a place called Garfield's Jewelers. It was there for many, many years. Over and above that, Mr. Papadakos lived there. And they got together and had a society called the Parthenon Society about 1909. And then it sprang over till 1910 where they had the Grecian Society.
Yeah, I will always be Greek.
Yeah.
It's something that even my children don't understand. How can I live here for 30 years and be so Greek, more Greek than some people in Greece?
Every Sunday, I can remember this as a kid, we'd go to a different family, and they had a big living room, and all the families would be on the periphery, and we kids would be in the middle. And then we'd have food and drink and whatnot, and that went on every Sunday.
Keep in mind that we all lived within walking distance or a bus ride from Ray Street. Like the bus on King Street would go up, pick me up, pick up down, and swing around and come here and drop us off on Congress Street. The city bus And then we'd go back here on Congress Street at 6 o'clock, get back on the bus, and the Drakes, the Traplises, Tomboli, Perry, everybody lived up and down King Street then.
My earliest recollections, I guess, were probably from the mid-50s, going to church at the church on Race Street, and just having a delightful time with my family members, my aunts and uncles who were all down here, and myriad cousins, and so just fond memories.
I lived on King Street. My daddy had a little grocery store, and we lived upstairs over the grocery store. So downtown Charleston was my playground.
When I was president of Orthodoxy, I did not have any family in Charleston to help me, and they all came like they were my real sisters.
Well, it's like my family. I go to church, I feel safe, I feel love there for the people, for my church, for God, for Jesus. And
it was somewhat different because many people didn't consider us as Christians, and that was very bothersome to me. In fact, I remember on one occasion, even one of the Catholic nuns asked me whether we were Christians. She, of all people, should have known. And that's been a disturbing point. In fact, many of the clubs downtown will not admit us because of being Greek. And I've been blackballed on some of the clubs.
I remember 30, 40 years ago, I would go out every month and sell tickets. One Sunday was a chicken dinner, and the other Sunday was a spaghetti dinner.
And in fact, the Charleston community, its formal name was the Grecian Society for many, many, many years, almost up to modern day. And interestingly enough, the minutes of the church were also kept in Greek up until the 1950s. That's almost hard to believe. And nowadays, I don't know if you could find too many people to be able to write the Greek language that well.
Actually, at this festival was the last time I danced with my dad, and it meant a lot to me. That's the last time the good thing that I really remember is us dancing here, and I will dance here this year in his memory.
And I'd call those older fellas up, like Dr. Crawford, who just passed away, and they'd step up to the plate. I mean, it was a religious thing, but also maybe ethnic pride too. I don't know. You know, you had some of these stalwarts, like Mr. Levinus, Mr. Lato. Those are you can't, you're going to offend somebody by leaving somebody out, but Mr. Levinus, Mr. Lato, Harry Hatopoulos, George Crawford, Mr. Chiropoulos from the early days, his son Nick is still alive here. You had some people who were the movers, and they would inspire others. And then if you had a catalyst in the form of Father Nick, it all kind of came together.
When Father Nick came here back in '48, the first couple that he married was my mom and dad.
Father Nick is a part of the centennial, even though he isn't here. I mean, he was here for the majority of the 100 years that we're celebrating. So he's a part of it, and I know he's going to be watching every minute of everything we're doing.
Oh, my Lord, little church. When he used to bring us as children into the church and teach us all the songs of the choir, I can still hear him say, Lipon, it's time to learn Greek music.
The Greek church didn't come to America and bring people. The immigrants came to America and decided they needed to bring the church.
Holy Trinity Charleston has always been a beautiful example of Byzantine architecture and beautiful iconography. And coming into this church is inspiring and awesome, even for people who are from other cities who have their own beautiful churches. This church is special.
And it has this, if you start to understand you're joining the church triumphant, because all these saints, everything depicted here, they're continuously in the presence of God, is the Orthodox understanding, continually worshiping and praising Him, continually. So what we do when we walk in the front door, we come to join them.
The Condeglu iconography that's in the iconostasio behind me is probably one of the most beautiful things in this church, but also his medallions around the center of the church. He was such a famous iconographer. This is the largest collection of his paintings in the United States in one place, and we were very fortunate that our church was able to have him do this iconography, including the stained glass windows on the lower level.
I don't think there's any other church that is as moving or as beautiful as the Greek church. The stained glass, the incense, the symbolism, the service itself.
Those immigrants who came and focused on what went on here in Charleston, or they laid the groundwork. Nowadays, we have a hard time doing things which they could probably have done in no time at all because they were so focused. And nowadays we agonize over we're going to have enough money to do this or do that. And they may have agonized over it, but there was no question it was going to happen. We can find a way to communicate with each other and work for the common good. The basic tenets of all religions, including the Orthodox religion, is to do good, to be loving, to be forgiving. And so if we can find a way to do that, that's the real key.
Be willing to be moved in your life and taken wherever God will have you take. And be moved by what you see.
This church is probably the most peaceful place anywhere in the whole United States or the world. I can come here and just get totally in peace and with God.
Just kind of relax, enjoy your culture, enjoy your faith, enjoy God.
The Greek part of it is it's a culture, and we have certain things that are a part of our culture. But as far as the religion is concerned, it would never enter my mind to go, and I've played in every organ in this town, but I always come back here because this is a part of me and this is where I feel like I belong.
Being Greek is about kefi, it's about spirit, it's about having passion for something.
Greek dancing is like part of what I do, and like going to church and going to Sunday school, like I can all relate to that. And if I didn't have any culture, I probably wouldn't be doing half of the things I am right now.
Just like when you get a group of people together that loves doing what they're doing, which is Greek dancing, and the kefi just sort of flows. It's just so much fun to be dancing with those people, and it's just really nice.
They wanted to bring their traditions and their religion to America. And they, like I say, they got the priests. They brought the priests over. They started the Greek community.
Well, first of all, it's the old church. We're the first Christians. And we know we are the original of Jesus.
We were born in this and love what we have. I'm not looking for anything else. So it's been. There's an old Greek thing that says, "Pisteve και μην ερεύνεις." Believe, but don't search for it. Just believe.
I am a Greek Orthodox. That's who I am. And I never question that. You know, that's what brings me happiness.
This church gives me about everything I need spiritually, and obviously with the rest of the people and friends that we have here, it gives me everything I need emotionally as well.
You know, the people that I hang out with, that I spend my time with, are from this community by and large, you know, and it's a huge sense of family.
I would never say that my religion is better than any other religion, but to me, my religion is my heritage. That's what's important to me.
I've never questioned my religion. I've always been Orthodox, and I will continue to be Orthodox, Greek Orthodox.
It's the oldest one, and it's the original one. And make you see, feel, and hear the faith.
The youth, it's what we should look carefully to. It should be our main focus because they are the adults of tomorrow, and the way we teach them now, the way we care for them now, the way we guide them now, is going to make a difference in the future.
You always have somewhere to go, and it's just a really solid foundation for your life.
So
somehow we've changed and we've kind of go back into our culture more than we did just like coming to church. But when we get in these costumes, we think, oh, we have a big responsibility. We're going out here to dance and show our culture.
And put on a show.
Yeah.
It's like, they're all, like my American friends, I guess you said, they are interested in the culture and everything. So, I mean, it's different for them. But then, like, you come to, like, the youth events and all that stuff, I mean, and there is a sense of connection because of it, though.
Right.
That you can't find anywhere else.
And we give our help ourselves to God's hands. And after all, the thing that makes us different as Orthodox people from the others is, according to the St. Paul, that we believe in faith. So we have to have faith for the future. We have to have faith.
Wow, we honor the past and the 100 years that got us to this place. All the faithful benefactors of this church that placed it into existence for God's glory. We too now look at a new chapter.
Holy Trinity is one of probably the first 20 churches, Orthodox churches in America, to reach 100 years. We're the oldest church, Orthodox church in the Carolinas, in the oldest city in the Carolinas, and that's a milestone.
The final part of our ceremony this morning is to bury the time capsule.
The tree was planted by our Holy Trinity, Hope, Joy.
τις μύρνες στα κόκκινα κεράσια, γιατί στενώς χορεύουνε της Κρήτης στα κοράσια, με περηφάνια λυδίσαινα και προμημένα, πως χόρευε της Κρήτης μας τα τρέχα τα εντρωμένα. Σε Κρήτη το χώρο που μάθανε παιδιά σου, που ξέραν οι προγόνοι σου να χαίρε την καρδιά σου. Κοίταξε χάρη κι όμορφια τη μιλβεντοσύνη, ο πόκυπευτος ο κύριος και τι χαρές αφήνει. Sotto bello sale, που πάει τρία σαλιά, όμως με δυο για γέρνει πάλι. Βλέπετε τούτο το χώρο που πάει ζάλο, το ίδιο θα χορέψουμε στην πόλη δίχως άλλο. Αυτό που το λένε αγάπη, τι είναι αυτό που κρυφά της καρδιάς οδηγεί, κι όποιος το νιώσε το νοσταλγεί. Τι είναι αυτό που το λένε αγάπη, τι είναι αυτό, γέλιο δάκρυ για χαραποχή, και τέλος κι αρχή. Ποτέ κανένα στόμα δεν μπόρεσε ακόμα να πει τι είναι αυτό που τόσα χρόνια κρυφά τις καρδιές οδηγεί. Τι είναι αυτό που το λένε αγάπη, τι είναι αυτό που σε κάνει να ρες το σκοπό. Σ' αγαπώ, σ' αγαπώ, σ' αγαπώ. Κανένα στόμα δεν μπόρεσε ακόμα να πει τι είναι αυτό που τόσα χρόνια κρυφά τις καρδιές οδηγεί. Τι είναι αυτό που το λένε αγάπη, τι είναι αυτό που σε κάνει να ρες το σκοπό. Σ' αγαπώ, σ' αγαπώ, σ' αγαπώ, σ' αγαπώ, σ' αγαπώ, σ' αγαπώ. Δυο μάτια αγαπημένα, για να με φέρει ο λογισμός ξανά στα περασμένα. Ταρι, ταρι, παίζαμε μακάρι. Άνοιξε το παραθύρο, η γειτονιά να παίξει. Η πουλιά κι ο αυγερινός, μαζί σου για να παίξει. Στο γυαλό πετούν οι γλάροι, να τα παίζαμε μακάρι. Πλαγιάζω για να κοιμηθώ, κι ο λογισμός με δέρνει. Ο ήλιος καίει τα βουνά, κι ο ύπνος δεν με φέρνει. Στο γυαλό πετούν οι γλάροι, να τα παίζαμε μακάρι. Τραβάω για χατήρι της και φάρμακι ακόμα πίνω το ποτήρι της, κι αν κουρέλι με έχει κάνει η αγάπη της, τι σας νοιάζει, τα αγαπάω και τα λάβει της. Έτσι θέλω και μ' αρέσει, λόγια μη γυρεύετε, πόσο μια καρδιά να αντέξει. Τι σας φταίω και με κοροϊδεύετε. Έτσι θέλω και μ' αρέσει, λόγια μη γυρεύετε, πόσα μια καρδιά να αντέξει. Τι σας φταίω και με κοροϊδεύετε. Τι μου κάνει και τρελαίνομαι, μια ζωή για αυτή δεν φτάνει, να μπερδεύομαι, για μια χαρή της παθαίνω κάθε ένα λεπτό. Τι σας νοιάζει η ζωή μου, ήταν γραπτό. Έτσι θέλω και μ' αρέσει, λόγια μη γυρεύετε, πόσα μια καρδιά να αντέξει. Τι σας φταίω και με κοροϊδεύετε. Έτσι θέλω και μ' αρέσει, λόγια μη γυρεύετε, πόσα μια καρδιά να αντέξει. Τι σας φταίω και με κοροϊδεύετε. Όλο με διατάσσες και τη γνώμη τη δική μου ούτε τη λογαριάζες. Μου λέγες το άσπρο μαύρο και το μπλε κοκκινό και δεν έδειχνες για μένα μια στάλια φιλότιμο. Σήκω πάνω, κάτσε κάτω, αγαράτησα και μας δίνεις σαν την ώρα που σ' αγάπησα, ως που έγινα θηρίο και επαναστάτησα. κάτω, έκανες την πλάκα σου και με χίλια παρακάνα μου δίνες τα χάδια σου. Μια μεγάλη τυραννία ήταν η αγάπη σου, τώρα φεύγω και στον τοίχο χτύπα το κεφάλι σου. Σήκω πάνω, κάτσε κάτω, αγαράτησα και μας δίνεις σαν την ώρα που σ' αγάπησα. Πώς που έγινα θηρίο και επαναστάτησα. δέστε πως χορεύουνε της Κρήτης στα κορασιά με περηφάνια λύδισσα και προμημένα πως χόρβε της Κρήτης μας τα δέκα τα εντρωμένα. Σε Κρήτη το χώρο που μάθανε παιδιά σου που ξέραν οι προγόνοι σου να χαίρε την καρδιά σου. Κοίταξε χάρη κι όμορφια τη λεβεντοσύνη ο πόκυπετος ο κύριος και τι χαρές αφήνει. Όσο το πέντος άλλο που πάει τρία ζαλιά όμως με δυο για γέρνει πάλι. Βλέπετε τούτο το χώρο που πάει ζάλος άλλο το ίδιο θα χορόψουμε στην πόλη δίχως άλλο.